Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Halligan, and welcome back to Saying the President's Name 100 Times. Today we got the 21st President, Chester A. Arthur, and you know the drill. We're going to read a few comments, we're going to go over a few facts, and we're going to say his name 100 times. But first, I'm going to drink a little sip of my Baja Blast. All right, where was I? All right, so reading a few comments. We have 3 comments today. So we have Garrett6464. We have, please keep this series up forever. I will keep this series up as long as new presidents come and go. And then we got, I love you, I... Is that supposed to be an exclamation mark? Well, I don't know how to respond to that, but thank you. And then we have Slightly Jim 5590. He says, dope. Yeah, this series is pretty dope with how well it's being received. I appreciate you guys' support for just watching the video and just liking it. Maybe you guys get bored, or maybe you guys listening to the audio. Maybe you like to memorize it. Either way, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. And, you know, I'm trying to help myself memorize these presidents' name, and maybe you guys can pick up on it too. Because so far, I can name most of the presidents without even looking at the script, if I'm being honest. So, you know, practice makes perfect. Anyways, with that out of the side, let's read into 5 facts of Chester A. Arthur. So, after his father, a Baptist preacher who immigrated from Northern Ireland, brought life into Chester A. Arthur on October 5th, 1829 in North Fairview, Vermont. And then after graduating in 1848 from Union College in Kentucky, New York, he was admitted to the New York Bar in 1854 and joined a law firm. He joined the Republican Party in the 1850s and served as a quartermaster general of the New York's troops during the Civil War. Garfield was assigned to Garfield was I forgot to mention this. Garfield in the last field, his cause of death was that he was assassinated. So Chester A. Arthur could take the presidency. And the reason why James A. Garfield died was supposedly it wasn't like a hate crime by Chester A. Arthur. It was someone else who wanted Chester A. Arthur to be the president because they liked him more. It's a little messed up, but it's like it happens. And then after finishing his term for nomination, he attended the inauguration of the Democrat Grover Cleveland and retired to New York to die later on November 18, 1886. And that is the facts as well as the comments. And now we say the name of Chester A. Arthur 100 times. So, if you guys are ready, lift up your glass, pull up your counter, and let's get right into this. I'm setting my counter to electric, and also, I'm using my phone again. I left my microphone back. I didn't get my microphone back. I'm still looking for it. And either way, let's just get right into this. Chester A. Arthur. 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 That is 10. Chester A. Arthur. 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 Chester A. Arthur, 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 and Chester A. Arthur. That is 20. Chester A. Arthur, 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 Chester A. Arthur. That is 30. Chester A. Arthur, 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 and Chester A. Arthur. That is 40. Chester A. Arthur, 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 Chester A. Arthur. That is 50. We are halfway there. I'm going to take a sip. Chester A. Arthur, 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 and Chester A. Arthur. That is 60. Chester A. Arthur, 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 Chester A. Arthur. That is 70. Whew. I thought I burped for a second. Hold on. Chester A. Arthur, 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 Chester A. Arthur. That is 80. Chester A. Arthur, Chester A. Arthur, Chester A. Arthur, Chester A. Arthur, Chester A. Ooh, sorry about that. Chester A. Arthur, 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 and Chester A. Arthur. That is 90. Chester A. Arthur, 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 and Chester A. Arthur. And that was 100 times. Thank you all for watching this video or listening wherever you guys are. Thank you for, enjoying this. And I hope you enjoyed not just the video, but the reference to Good Morning Vietnam at the beginning. And I hope you enjoyed this normal commentary with my Baja Blast while also saying the president's name. So tune in for next week for the 22 22nd president of the United States. And I'll see you in the next video. Adios, my amigos.